Hello everybody, Mason here, CNA Games. I appreciate you clicking on the video, supporting the channel, supporting the store. You guys always do. I appreciate you for it. Go to cnagames.com, buy some stuff. I appreciate you. Okay. I'm going to attempt to explain the whole entire card economy all in one video. It's not an easy concept to explain. It is a lot of stuff going on. TCGPlayer, we're going to talk about that, and the pricing and how direct works and all that stuff too. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to talk about. But I think there's a lot of confusion out there. I think if people just understood how it works, and hopefully I can explain it well enough to get that across, that people are going to feel better about it and then want to be able to use the platform and feel okay buying stuff on there. I'm not the qualified person to be explaining this, but again, I at least know the back end enough to know what's going on, so I can explain it to you. So, let's talk about Pokemon just real quick in general. Pokemon is having a heck of a time right now. A lot of sales, a lot of movement, a lot of cards moving around. It's just a very busy time for Pokemon TCG. You have the rotation that just happened. So a lot of people are having to swap out stuff from their decks, replace all the E-block stuff to the newer stuff. And that's putting a strain on the market and the listings for these cards because things are just selling so quickly. We just had a new set drop with a lot of meta-relevant stuff. We're going to have another set here in a couple weeks, and it's going to drop some more stuff, so it's going to just keep on trucking, keep continuing on. But, and then you have the regionals that are happening. We just had one in Orlando, and then we have one in Indianapolis in a couple weeks, and then we have the North American International Championships in Louisiana down in New Orleans a couple weeks after that. So it's a lot going on all at once, and the card market is moving so fast because there's never been so many players in the game. People wanting to build relevant deck stuff, wanting to play meta stuff. So it's just a lot of pressure being put on the system. So what does that mean? Or who cares, right? What does matter? There is a growing supply deficit of these cards on TCGPlayer, where there was a lot of listings for a lot of this stuff, and then as people shuffle things around and things are getting bought up, things are moving and the prices are moving faster than items can be relisted to push those prices back down. Does that make sense? So, and this is particularly strenuous because the big boy sellers that sell all the staples and have thousands of all these card singles, they're just having so much throughput, and then direct from TCGPlayer themselves are seeing so crazy demands and things moving so quickly that they can't keep up. So let's start there. Let's start and explain what the heck is direct. What is that whole program? TCGPlayer Direct is where TCGPlayer sells you cards, the buyer, you cards, and has sellers like me and other people on the platform replenish their stock. So TCGPlayer has millions of cards at their New York facility that they ship things around all across the country, and I replenish their stock of their inventory based on the price that I sold an item for. So, a lot of the time, people like to sell on direct because you can get more for your stuff, because direct is seen as a premium service, and TCGPlayer, they ship things very well. It all comes in one package. So when you go and build a deck, and you say, okay, I want 4 of this, 2 of this, 3 of this, 4 of this, 4 of this, you get it in one package. It goes straight to you. There's no sellers having to worry about shipping stuff. And then I get a big list of cards that I then have to ship off to TCGPlayer, and that refills their stock. So there's they put out bounties on these cards, and then I say, yeah, I want to sell this card for that, and then I replenish it. I cash in my bounty to them, and they pay me out. It's basically how TCGPlayer Direct works. It's a great system. I'm thankful for it every day, and it could go away any day because it can't be making them tons of money, but it is a fantastic service and it makes the platform look good. And the buyers that use Direct appreciate the premium service. So that's Direct. That's the whole that program. It's great for sellers like me that want to move cards very, very quickly and have a lot of inventory that I need to get through. It's great. We are 5 minutes in, and I have not explained hardly anything. So let's keep it moving. Okay. So supply deficit. Let's go to the website and try to explain this. And hopefully, it's easy to understand. Okay. This is TCGPlayer. We are looking at the best selling cards on the entire platform. Now, the best selling is not a straight quantity. It is the amount of cards that are being sold versus the amount that are currently listed on the platform. So the more wonkier that number is, like the more that you're selling than is being listed or is listed currently, the sell-through of that item, that's what this number is based off of. So Prime Catcher. Prime Catcher is brand new from Temporal Forces. Great card. It's holding its price very, very well. And it's a pretty much guaranteed play in most decks in the format. So you got to have it. So we can go look at Prime Catcher here. So here's Prime Catcher. We're going to look at Prime Catcher. As you can see, there's 71 listings available, but there's none listed because I'm looking at Direct. So I need to check Direct off. And we're going to explain the buy box here. Just like on Amazon, there's like a little button. You say, hey, this is like a premium listing. I'm going to hit add to cart, make it easy, move on with my life. If there's a card on Direct that is available, this buy box goes to that. This is not always the lowest price. In fact, it's hardly ever the lowest price. It is always going to be a direct seller that TCGPlayer has the card available, and then a seller has it priced. And whatever the seller has it priced, that's what that box means. So, as you can see, this is not a direct. I have this Jet Energy for an example later. See how it says direct by TCGPlayer. So that's what it is. It's not a good price. It's not like the best price, but it's the most reliable way to get this card for exponentially more than what you could probably pay potentially. And that's that box. That's what that means. You can ignore it. You can scroll down. You can buy from any other of these 0% and one salespeople and take a risk and try to buy this card, or you can buy it on Direct if that's available, or from anybody that has like these little gold stars. That's verified sellers that know that it's an actual business with brick and mortar, and they've made some sales, so they're good. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot of verified sellers here on this Prime Catcher. You got to go way up to a $35.98, which is above this low price on here. So it's a hard way to go to try to get this card from somebody that is reliable and a good seller for sure. But again, that's just due to the sheer volume of this card being sold on this platform. It's just moving. It's zooming. Okay. So that's the buy box and why that exists. And again, we're going to talk about that more later. Let's go back to the highest sales velocity cards. We have Iron Hands. Iron Hands is a good card that is in a lot of decks. You're seeing a lot of the more expensive stuff again. These things that have low numbers, like look at this. Moonbaron has 18 listings available. That's all that's on TCGPlayer is 18 of this card. That is crazy. That's for a future video though. We're not talking about that. You're going to see a lot of stuff like these Buddy Buddy Poffins though. Again, another item card. It's just an uncommon from the new set, but it's a very good card. Any deck that has evolution Pokemon is going to play this card. You need 4 of them. It sells a lot. Look at the amount of listings. 451. But the sheer volume, and that most of the time people are buying 4 at a time, this card is just ripping. And it's moving. Tons and tons of these all at the same time. And you're going to see a lot of these uncommons. The Earthen Vessels. We can keep going on the next page. And just kind of, I always like looking at this because this gives you an idea of what staples are best selling in these decks. So that's the bestseller screen here that I wanted to show. Why does it matter? Who cares, right? Okay, let's go and we're going to check this little box right here. Direct by TCGPlayer. If it's out of stock from TCGPlayer, it'll say out of stock on it. Look at all this stuff that's out of stock. A lot of stuff unavailable on TCGPlayer Direct. So either TCGPlayer is out of that card, or there's no sellers that have it available for sale. Could be either one. Could be both. Who knows? But they're not available. So there is how many sellers? 400 and however many of Buddy Buddy Poffin? There's none available on Direct. So more than likely TCGPlayer is out. They just can't keep up. It's just a super needed card. So that's what I'm talking about when there's a supply deficit. So what does that do to pricing? And what does it do to the buyer experience, let's say? Let's look at Iron Boulder. Not a particularly popular card, but one that illustrates my point pretty well. We can see here it's on the rise a little bit, getting a little bit popular, a little uptick here. Okay. There is a direct seller for $30. But if we go down here and we look at not direct stuff, Muse Shop here, it's for $24. So this is what we talk about when we talk about direct. You're able to get such a good premium, and why you want to be a part of the program if you can keep up with the quantities, that because you get these premiums. This guy is what? That's like 30%, 40% higher than what the next the actual lowest card is for near mint. Does anybody actually even buy those? Well, TCGPlayer is great because you can click on this little sales history and you can actually see. Look right here. Yesterday, somebody bought one for $29.99. Boom, $29.99. So it's not always the lowest price. Again, people will pay for convenience. People will pay for that premium sales and the quality of shipping. You're not having to worry about some random guy out in the middle of the country trying to ship you stuff in a plain white envelope and hoping that it gets to you. So there's a premium to that. People will pay it. They will. So that's how Direct gives you those kind of premiums, because this button right here, this little buy box, really helps direct sellers a lot. Let's see where this is a better example for like a super popular card. This is Jet Energy from Paldea Evolved. Look at this bad boy. Direct button TCGPlayer, $14.83 is the cheapest that this card is available from a direct seller for a near mint reverse. But if you look down here, it's $4.69. So this price is exponentially higher. How does this happen? If you think of like pricing as like a floor and like a ceiling. Ceiling is like some dude that says, I want $400 for this card. It's $4, but I want $400. That's a ceiling, right? The floor of these cards are, again, I forgot to uncheck. The floor for this card is $3.29 from this seller here. Remember we were talking about sales velocity and how fast things are moving. A lot of these cards are moving. Look, 4 at a time, 6 at a time, 4 at a time. Very, very popular card. It moves very, very quickly. And it's seen a huge explosion in price here recently, because people need it for these new decks that they're building. So the price floor, as things sell and things move, that floor goes higher. And if somebody comes along, even if you are not direct, just a regular seller, you're not going to sell a card for $8 that the lowest listed is for $10. More than likely, you're going to sell that card for $10, or maybe go $9.99 or something like that, so that you beat them out a little bit. But for as fast as cards are moving, there's no people that are wanting to compete to list. Those things are being bought and sold so quickly. There's more that are being sold than there is being listed during the day. So these prices are just creeping higher and higher as the floor goes higher and higher. That's how these direct sellers get to these prices, because nobody's going in and manually pricing this card for $14.83. Moon Energy Singles here is using an algorithm of some kind, some sort of either Excel spreadsheet upload or the mass price tool that's on here. It's all percentage based. They might say, hey, I want to sell this card 50% above the market price. I'm a direct seller, so more than likely I might be able to get that, do that. Obviously, this is more than 50% higher, but you get my point. Somehow, somewhere, some algorithm is pushing this number to be that much. I don't know why. I don't know how it got there, but it is. So, but again, when you see these high prices in the buyer box, in the direct box here, it's not necessarily malicious. It's because nobody's gonna price that for that just because they're greedy. It's just some algorithm that is using some sort of sales data or sales information that comes up with that. And then again, as the floor gets bought out, maybe they don't run the algorithm every day. Maybe it was really, really high one day on direct, and then they match direct maybe, and then now they're stuck there because they haven't run the sales pricing updates recently. That could happen. That could be a thing. But that is how these types of numbers populate. So if we look at an example that people are giving a lot of the time, the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. A Shinji Kanda art. I love Shinji Kanda. Fantastic artist. I love all these cards and all the stuff that he does. But yeah, on a little bit of an uptick here. A little bit, I would say. But again, looking at the market price, it's 106, right? Again, direct is 179.69. How did this seller get this price? Well, it's because they're the only person that exists there. And maybe, maybe there were sellers above this and all this stuff sold that were not such an egregious price. Like that's a $80 premium for a direct. That's probably not ideal, right? But you could say that some sellers list stuff wanting to get that premium just because from a direct seller and they're just going to pay it. Sure. That could be a thing. That could be a situation that is happening. More than likely, though, it's just somebody that is pricing stuff. Maybe when this card first came out, there could be that same card sitting there for what, a year at this point. Who knows how that price got to be there? But when the floor price, it's fluctuating so much that these types of things can happen. Where the lowest thing listed is a $180, an $80 premium on the market price. That's how this happens. So, and again, you can see even there's sales. If we just look at near mint, let's just look at near mint, and don't show me listing with photos because those are always the Japanese price sometimes. This card is selling for all over the place. The last one sold is 137.86. One sold for 69, 99, 115, 102, 100, 107, 131. So more than likely, these were the previous direct sellers, right? A little bit of a premium. Maybe that, I don't know what the heck happened there. I would have bought that. Shoot, at this price. Jeez. But these were probably the lowest listed, right? Lowest listed probably. And then these higher ones, there's one for 150. That's on direct. So, again, as things get bought out and people are matching these prices and saying, hey, I want to be above, 20 above the last, the lowest direct seller, these types of things are priced, and they just kind of sit there because there's no competition, especially for a card. Look at this. This card has 45 listings. That's it. That's all there is. Even in any condition, that's all that's listed. 32 if you take away the ones with photos. So there's only 32 of this card actually listed. So that's kind of telling. And on how just can price manipulation happen in this? Absolutely. In this scenario, with this low of cards available, it'd be very, very easy if some, maybe one day, like over the weekend sometimes when people aren't working, they're not listing cards over the weekend. What if this card sells 15 copies? You can just go over here and be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can see the price going higher. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Like, now we're already at 115. just like that. So again, as things sell, and there's a supply deficit of these cards, these type of wild price swings and raise in price like that look crazy like that can happen. So that is what's happening on TCGPlayer. There is a supply deficit, and there's maybe particularly a supply deficit from direct sellers, simply because these cards are so in demand. And frankly, I don't see this card come into the shop very often. Nobody's coming in and wanting to sell their Magic card to me. It's just not a card that we see a lot because it's so popular. And as these cards, and nobody's opening Paldea Evolved right now. Sword and Shield cards aren't being opened anymore because there's no more packs. It's harder to find. Pokemon's pushing Scarlet and Violet more and more. That stuff gets less and less seen in products. There's less and less of these being opened and immediately flipped. They're going into binders, going under, in shoe boxes under the bed, and in binders under the bed, and in the closet, and that's where they sit. So that's how these kind of like meteoric prices can happen, is because the sell-through and the quantity being sold is not matching the quantity that's being listed currently. I hope that makes sense. I hope that understands. For a long time on this channel, I've always talked about keeping an eye on how much of this stuff is available. How many listings are there for any particular thing? 18 listings for a Moonbreon? This is alarm bell level of low inventory. There's 13 near mints right now on TCGPlayer, and they are flying for way above the market. Now, is this card being manipulated? No, it's simply look at the lowest round of direct is $1,000. This is just people that are selling into the market. They're just it is when there's demand and crazy hype and just so few of these things hitting the market, these kind of crazy prices can happen. This is how markets turn from things that are going down in price to going back up. I hope that makes sense. I hope this platform is getting some flack about this. And yeah, that maybe this is not the best thing to put here. I love it because I'm a direct seller, right? But maybe having a little warning, like, hey, this is so much above, the market price. If that's the way it is, that might be a good thing to add. But TCGPlayer as a platform gives you so much information. You can become an educated buyer by looking at this graph, seeing which direction the prices are going, clicking this little box here and seeing what is being sold and what the prices are being sold at. You have the information, and this is stuff that eBay doesn't want you to see the pricing and what things have sold for recently. TCGPlayer doesn't care. They give it to you right here. And that's so refreshing and nice. You can do your own research and make sure that you're getting a good deal. TCGPlayer is a good website. It's good. Direct program is good. Just make sure it's your prices are reasonable and what you want to pay on stuff. Otherwise, I love TCGPlayer. It's a great platform. We would not exist without it. It'd be very, very tough. So, thanks, y'all. Thanks for watching this. Holy crap, 25 minutes. We got to go. I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks so much. I got to go home. I've been here for a hot minute, so I got to go. Have a good night. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.